The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said,
When will you end these speeches? Be sensible and then we could talk. Why are we regarded as cattle and considered stupid in your sight? For who tear yourself into pieces in your anger? Is the earth to be abandoned for your sake? Or must the rocks be removed from their place? Let me tell you this. The lamp of the wicked man is snuffed out. The flame of his fire stops burning. The light in his tent becomes dark. The lamp beside him goes out. The vigor of his step is weakened. His own schemes throw him down. His feet thrust him into a net. He wanders into a mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel and a snare holds him fast. A noose is hidden for him on the ground and trap lies his path. Terror startled him on every side and a dog his every step. Calamity is hungry for him. Disaster is ready for him when he falls. It eats away parts of his skin. Death's firstborn devours his limbs. He is torn from the security of his tent and marched off to the king of terrors. Fire resides in his tent. Burning sulfur is scattered over his dwelling. His roots dry up below, and his branches wither above. The memory of him perishes from the earth. He has no name in the land. He is driven from light into the realm of darkness and is banished from the world. He has no offspring or descendants among his people, no survivor where once he lived. People of the west are appalled at his fate. Those of the east are seized with horror. Surely such is the dwelling of an evil man. Such is the place of one who does not know God.
The exchanges between Job and his friends are intensifying as they debate the fate of the wicked. With harsh accusations and deep rebuttal, Job defends his integrity while grappling with the injustices he sees around him. Join us as we uncover the raw emotion, the bold question, and the profound insights that still resonate today. As always, be blessed and enjoy.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your host,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. All right. We appreciate everyone for tuning in and brain fart. So, how's it going?
I'm all right. You see me in person today. You know, I took a trip down to Poinciana, Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I feel good. You know, God is good. Getting better at my rehab. You see what I'm saying? Like being able to manage work, school, the extracurricular activities, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been going good, and you know, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, bro. That's good. It's good. It's been almost a year since you actually first injured yourself, right?
Yeah, 11 months.
It's
11.
crazy. Time's flying.
I got injured at the end of November,
But you didn't have the surgery until
the end of January.
Yeah, January. Mercy, time is flying. But the recovery is good, though. You're walking without a cane, without a cast. You're running.
Yeah, I'm running now.
That story you said was funny.
Yeah, no, I was telling him I was running this morning. I trying to get to a 12-minute mile. To some people, they be like, what? That's so slow. You know what I mean? But I had 15 right now, but it's all good. And I was telling them I was on the verge of, I was so close to making it within the 15-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have been like a tenth of a mile away with like 20 seconds, 30 seconds left. And this dog started chasing me, this little chow chow or whatever started chasing me. And Earl took it as, bro, this was God propelling you to make sure you meet the time. But my pride was like, bro, ain't no way I want this dog for a second. Think I am scared of him because I can't outrun him because obviously I wounded. But I think he would feel emboldened to try to bite me if he think that he chased me. It's the principle, bro. I don't want you to think I scared you. So I actually interrupted my time to tell it to stop. I shouted, I was like, stop. You know what I mean? I let you know. In the Bahamas, we say get.
Yep.
I don't know if American dogs know that type of language, if they know to react to that. So I tell them, stop. Stop. And so I didn't make the time for those ones. I fell short 15 seconds because I stopped to worry about it.
He didn't take the motivation. If you ask me, that's the motivation from God to give him a little extra pep in his step.
Real talk.
But no, my boy decided to shoo away his blessing.
Hey, that's a sermon, you know. Sometimes, bro, God puts something in our lives to propel us to greatness.
Exactly what Joseph say, what you meant for evil, God meant for good.
The changing of many lives.
All right.
So yeah, that's my little journey for today.
So we are in Job, but like for
we should have been doing Proverbs.
Proverbs.
Yeah, we should. I think it's 5.
Proverbs 5. Yeah. Okay.
When you say okay, that make me feel like it ain't long. So okay, I can do this.
Wait, you see, Proverbs ain't as bad though. Them Psalms, bro. Every time we get to Psalms, it could be a hit or miss, bro. I still wonder how we could tackle Psalms 119 when that time comes.
But you know how long that could be?
Psalms 119 longer than some books in the Bible.
That's true. That's very true. That's the longest chapter in the Bible.
In the Bible.
We have to take that in strides, though, bro. I ain't even hating. Unfortunately for me, on this day, I have a few things highlighted in Proverbs 5. One thing I like about Proverbs, apart from Psalms, like if I could compare, Proverbs is straightforward in a lot of ways. Psalms is proverbial, no pun intended. It's metaphorical, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Proverbs, I think it's almost like, I just feel like it's able to digest it easier. You know, I actually reading this book for school. It's talking about writing well, and the author was saying that, like when you read something that's simple, a lot of people feel like, as a writer, some people feel like I can't write something simple because people would assume that I'm simple. You see what I'm saying? But he was saying the inverse is actually true. People who can write can convey things simply. They work hard to be able to do that. You see what I'm saying?
That's actually pretty true.
And so I actually like that, and that actually kind of changed my thought process. Sometimes we would say like, I'm so discombobulated today, when you could say I'm so confused today. You see what I'm saying? Like it's certain things that can have the same effect if you just change the word. I was flabbergasted. I was enthralled. You know what I'm saying? But you could say it's such a more easier way, and that way people don't have to think hard. Basically, different strokes for different folks, and different books have different audiences and different goals that they're trying to achieve. I just feel like in terms of like ease, Proverbs has the better ease factor. Now, hopefully,
and he was writing to his children too.
Right, true. But it's so funny because I say all that. Now watch when we read this chapter, it can be something confusing, and I put my foot in my mouth. You know what I mean?
All right, let's go. So Proverbs 5, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Turn your ears to my words of insight, that you may maintain discretion, and your lips may persevere knowledge. For the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. And in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. She gives no thought to the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, and she does not know it. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to a path far from her. Do not go near the door of her house, lest you lose your honor to others and your dignity to one who is cruel. Lest strangers feast on your wealth, and your toil enrich the house of another. And at the end of your life you will groan, and when your flesh and your body are spent, you will say, how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction. I would not obey my teachers or turn my ear to my instructors. I was soon in serious trouble, and in the assembly of God's people. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in public squares, let them be alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful dare, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Mercy. Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? Mercy. For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sins hold them fast. For lack of discipline, they will die, lead astray by their own great folly.
Well, amen to that.
Mercy.
Wise words from a wise man, concerned about his children and the decisions they make. Earl and I, after the pod last week, we were reflecting on some of our friends. We have friends, even family members, that, you know, when you compare where we used to be, all of us, same school, same church, same whatever, then you compare the paths that we're taking. It's like, man, that's very sad. You know what I'm saying? It's very sad that people from the same background as us, same church family, you know what I'm saying? My mommy and your mommy, prayer partners type situation. But it's like just the decisions that we made as youth, you know, it played such a negative role on our future and where we are. You know, we have friends who passed away, you know what I'm saying, to violence, friends who are incarcerated with no hope, you know what I'm saying, to see
the light of day again.
See the light of day again. You feel me? And one thing that is interesting when I think about this text, right? I think it's a few things. Obviously, they talking about fidelity to your wife. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? But it's a part that, and I didn't have this highlighted, but it's something that he had said when he was saying how I didn't like, verse 12. No, verse 11. And thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are confused and are consumed, and say, I'm reading from the King James Version, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my heart to them that instructed me. I am almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. I have a friend, bro. We all went to school together, and he was just a regular dude. He wasn't like this career criminal type of dude, but he wasn't always doing the right thing, I should say, right? I remember he ended up getting a charge, bro. And this was a heavy charge on him, but it was based on association. This wasn't something that he actively did, but it was by association, and he was facing time, bro. You see what I'm saying? I remember when he got out on bail, his sentiments always, bro, the common sentiment he was saying was, bro, I wish I listened to my parents. Mercy. My parents was telling me all of these things, and I thought it was stupid, but they was right. And I was sitting there thinking like, bro, no way this coming out of your mouth. Like, I understand you put it all in perspective because of the charges you face. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, a lot of times we look back on the mistakes that we make, and if we are self-aware enough, we can honestly say, I knew better than that.
Yeah.
My mommy teach me better than that. My church family teach me better than that. They expect better than that of me. But I chose not to do it. Why? Because I did not like to be taught. I did not like to be corrected. I was hard-headed type of situation. And so now the father in this chapter, he's saying, bro, when you disobey instruction, and now it lead to death. You are consumed. Your flesh is consumed. You know what you could say? Bro, I hated instruction, bro. I wasn't even listening, and this would let me
think about that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true though, because even like now as adults, we adults now going through life, we see things that our parents told us about, and we like, now I see why you say X, Y, and Z, but I didn't understand then. And that's always been the interesting thing, right? Like when older people giving you advice, is always be interesting to like, half of them we don't understand their perspective, where they coming from until we actually live it ourselves. Like my daddy tells a story about like when he was building his house, well, our house that we have back home, right? He was telling me like how my Grammy was telling him like a different a way to go about it, which he actually listened to, but he didn't understand. And he was mad. He's like, I could have a bigger house, yada yada yada. But then it wasn't until like years later he was like, I see why she telling me do this. Like, this made more sense. But it's always be in that moment, you like, when we think we know better for ourselves.
Exactly.
Like, y'all old, y'all out of touch, y'all. It's gonna be interesting because we want to talk about Job and how they've been standing on all the principles, right? But it's always about sound advice and sound wisdom that you have to take heed to, that you have to take heed to and understand, because like the person, this is like some people we know, you get to a point in life where you're like, wow, it's too late to the course correct. Had I taken heed then, my life would have been in a different scenario right now. But now, only thing I can do is look back and reflect and say, wow, I came a long way, but I went the wrong way.
Yeah, and another thing, just from a young person perspective, I feel like sometimes it ain't the fact that the wisdom you telling me, I don't agree with, but sometimes it's just like, bro, you doing too much. You adding an unnecessary step. This is actually a step that I could cut off. I could avoid this step, and it can help me to get to where I'm going quicker, right? But to the wise person, it ain't really about getting where you going as much as it is getting where you going and then maintaining what you have.
Yeah.
It's one thing you could get all the way to the top. That's fine. But what could happen when you get to the top? What's the probability that you fall off? You see what I'm saying? Or that you lose all of these things. I think about my stepfather a lot because he's a very orderly person, right? You go to his house, bro, nothing out of place. I have family members, my dad like that too, and my grandmother's like that. But I like his example because it's like he does everything by the proper way to do it. And me, that ain't me. You see what I'm saying? I ain't to put this back whenever, like as soon as I move it, I put it right back. When I getting ready for church, I might be in a rush. I might try on the shirt, it don't work out, I throw it to the side. You see what I'm saying? He probably likely to just put it back on the hanger. If I do that enough times, I go have a mess, and now I have to take time out of my day to clean up this mess. Whereas if I had just undid everything, you see what I'm saying? You know, as our parents teach us, you know, clean up after yourself, do all these things. You could have actually saved yourself time in the long run had you maintained instead of trying to cut corners. Because what I do, I cut corners by saying, hey, I can deal with that later. Don't deal with it right now, bro. It's only 2 seconds, and you can save yourself, you know, a mountain of time. And so a lot of times we as young people and as people in general, we want to cut a corner. But it is better, bro, to do it the right way. You see what I'm saying? The right time, the first time. You see what I'm saying? Instead of having to continue to do it over and over, you know?
Yeah, I agreed.
And then one other thing, this obviously could be metaphorically speaking about literally speaking about adultery, but it also could be metaphorically speaking about what's it called? Leaving God. You see what I'm saying? Because when we get to Revelation, we know a woman signifies the church. You see what I'm saying? It's a strange woman. Like this is like a strange theology, a strange doctrine. Your parents taught you the way of God when you was young, but when you get older, you listen to the soothsaying words of like a religion that it just feels good to you. You see what I'm saying? But it lacks structure and it lacks constructiveness or goodness, you know, that leads you to God. But you have anything?
No, I was going to go on the adulterous point, right? Like how we literally wanting his children, like it's a different pervert, right? But pick a virtuous woman. But he's saying like, hey, yo, here's what not to do. Don't sleep with another man's wife. Don't lust after them. And avoid the words of an adulterous woman. He's saying they could sound sweet. They drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. So it's going to sound attractive. It's going to be enticing, but stay away from it. Stay far away from it, because in the end, she is bitter as gall and sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. She gives no thought to the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, and she does not know it. Like, he telling them, like, yo, what seems good, what seems fun, what seems exciting is going to get you nowhere. Because that is not the path you should be traveling. That is not the path you should be traveling. And then at the end, he say, like, why be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? He's saying because she won't go with her husband, means you need to be the one who joining in with her. Right. Like, why you enabling this foolishness? If
she want to crash out, let her do that. You don't got to be involved.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And bro, and that's something that I just by growing up in our culture, bro. But we don't talk about. We don't talk to men about fidelity, bro, like about what it called being faithful, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like that. obviously men and women cheat. You see what I'm saying? But it's like it's a shameful thing a woman cheat. You see what I'm saying? Like we hold that over the head, XYZ, but the same thing don't apply to men. As a matter of fact, it's like
double standard.
It's double standard, but it like a champion in a way type situation. Oh, that's he sweetheart, bro. Like my grandparents on both, like my grandfathers on both sides, bro. They the concept of being faithful, bro, it's almost like it was just a myth to them, but like they didn't know about it, like they never hear about it. You see what I'm saying? like for real, bro. Let's say what? Like that's what no, bro. That's like somebody trying to convince you to be a vegan. You see, it's like why would like I get that it's good to do, but do I have to do it? You see, I don't have to do it, so I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? And so that's the way it's looked at. You know. But from the biblical perspective, bro, this is wisdom, right? Bro, people listen to. Right, I was watching a podcast like a few months ago. There's a secular podcast. They don't talk about God. They're not Christian. They just rappers and stuff like that, right? You bring up Christ, they push back on it from like a logical world standpoint, right? I remember one time one of them 5%er. By 5%, it's a sect of the Nation of Islam who they like really black power and they just have higher consciousness. I'm just telling this for the audience who might not know, right? And they think we are gods and all that. You know, my brother, like this really high quote unquote consciousness stuff, right? This dude was talking about the path that God might have for you, right? He was like, bro, you might not know. God might ask a Christian to do something that's uncharacteristic of a Christian because he have a path for you, right? And he's saying it much better than I'm saying it. He concluded the text by saying, bro, if you find your life, you will lose it. But if you lose your life, you will find it, bro. And everybody on the pod was like, wow, that's deep. Everybody was like, wow, that's deep. And I said, yes, it's deep. But it's not his.
It's the Bible.
It's the Bible. You see what I'm saying? And he misquoted it. If you find your if you lose your life for my sake, you see what I'm saying? You will find it. That's Jesus talking in the Gospels. And so like it's so funny because we talk about this all the time, bro. Spiritual things, spiritually discerned, right? It's like how the things of God can sound like foolishness to the worldly.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And when you actually explore the word, the Bible is actually proven to be a book of wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Like gems like this. Bro, like they tell you, bro, right, you got your woman, this your woman you had from you was young, bro. Why would you leave her for another woman, not even just another woman, another man, wife, bro? Mercy. You see what I say? But that don't make sense. And young people, bro, especially people in the streets and people who trying to be cool, like everybody always talking about loyalty, bro. You would have people say, I rather loyalty over love. Stupid, bro. But loyalty is a part of love, bro. Like you see what they saying, like, but we don't understand. They're trying to separate the two. They're like, bro, people will love you and hurt you. You see what I'm saying? But if you loyal to me, you ain't gonna hurt me, bro. If you love me, you ain't gonna hurt me, bro. You see what I'm saying? But tell me, how is it loyal that you would take a charge for someone? This my boy trying to take up for them, right? But you would cheat on your wife, or you would cheat on your gal, or even vice versa. You would cheat on your man. How is that loyalty, bro?
Mercy.
This is the person that you lock in, but you go on before God and you say, I want to be with you for the rest of my life, bro. Me, you, and God, we make an oath. You see what I'm saying? And you betray that type wife. You know what I mean? Right. That's disloyal. And I ain't casting judgment, but I just wanted to put it in perspective, bro. What the things that we ignore in terms of right and wrong and the things that we highlight, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, but you know, the Bible is clear.
See, this brings to another point, right? Another like thought. And I know we have many long into this podcast, right? But do you think that also stems from now people not really going before God in marriage? Because a lot of people don't really, I mean, should have been into like several events in the last couple of years, right? Where it's more so like a legal contract versus
like a justice of
a
peace.
vow before God. You know what I'm saying? Like we know as Christians, or we have to believe as Christians that, you know, marriage is a sacred vow before God, that you and this person come before God saying y'all going, the original vows, like, you know, for better or worse, richer or poor, or sickness and death, sickness and health until death do us part type thing, right? A lot of people now in marriage is like, wait, we've been rocking for a while, we may as well get married, but they ain't really know God in the center of their marriage. And so now it's like, I wouldn't say is it love, but it's essentially like, is it truly love? That was like a conversation we didn't really anticipate to have.
Yeah, no, and I think it's kind of complex too, because it's like, it just depends on who we talking about, because this person might not be a Christian, but they might be, let's say they Muslim, right? when they get married, that's still before God type of situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if we talking about the person who have no regard for God at all,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they getting married. That's my personal. I so serious, bro. That's my personal belief because people always say marriage is like a business, right? And I hate that
That's
phrase.
how a lot of people is treated.
And that's how a lot of people is treated. But business is supposed to make money. I ain't making money just by getting married. But I don't see what y'all. If you're trying to say it's a legally binding contract, yes. But I am not getting. I am not gaining any revenue. I am not gaining any like monetary gain just by getting married, bro. You see what I'm saying? I mean, unless you're trying to say now we could file our taxes together, but still that ain't no monetary gain. That's just a less of an expense if you ask me. But I feel like God, so when we talk about the new covenant, right? When God say, I will make a new covenant, I'll put my law in your hearts, right?
Uh-huh.
Because of that, bro, whether Gentile or Jew spiritually, one that's grafted inwardly, like, how we understand it, you have the traits of God within you. You could choose whether to do it or not. And then there are also things that you will learn more as you get closer to God. We know it's wrong I don't know, I always knew this all my life, but I don't think someone had to convince me that it was wrong to kill. I don't think people who kill believe that they're doing the right thing. I mean, it just depends because, people go to war, they think they're doing the right thing. But I just feel like, biblically speaking, we have a moral compass within us. You see what I'm saying? So when they get married, it's elements of love. But I feel like you're not going to be able to fully love someone unless you know God, because God is actually love. God is the embodiment of love. You see what I'm saying? And when we get more like him and we treat other people the way he treats us, that's when we actually know how to fully do it,
Okay. Well, that's our discussion on Proverbs.
Yeah. Nice 24-minute.
But okay, so now let's talk about Job. So again, I mean, go back to our previous episodes. We still in the midst of Job and his friends just going back and forth and wrestling about what's happening with Job, right? We know how the book started, where God was having a meeting with the host of the heavens, and the accuser came there, who was Satan. And I don't know why I say it like that. I had the Hebrew and the English mixed in my head, right? Because he would say Satan, and then we say Satan, because that's just how we say it. And then it just came out as a mix of the two. Anyway, right? So Satan was there, and he was like, and God said, "Have you seen my servant Job, a man blameless in this generation?" And the accuser was saying that, man, Job only serving you because you blessing him. God said, well, that's not the case. And Satan said, okay, let me take away his possessions and stuff. God said, go do it. Job lost his family, lost all of his wealth. And the man worshiped when he loses 10 children. And then God at the next meeting, he say, yo, you see Job? Satan say, man, Job only doing that because you ain't let me touch his health. Surely a man will curse God when in the face of death. God say, go forth and conquer, in my translation. And Satan went there, afflicted Job with boils, and even his own wife say, curse God and die. But Job say, no, he won't. And then in this suffering, Job had some friends who came there just trying to rationalize and saying, bro, just confess your sin and you'll be restored. And Job is saying, no, I didn't do anything that merits this. And you guys have an outdated worldview on God's righteousness. Like, y'all taking this biblical or theoretical like idea too far, because now y'all saying that wickedness merits suffering, and then as a result, suffering means you are wicked. And Job is saying, bro, I am innocently suffering right now. But his friends are saying that is never the case.
That's never the case. And we have documented philosophy that's what we all believe and know to be fact. It's like in today's day and age, we have a law called gravity, right? We'll go up, must come down, so Isaac Newton, all that stuff, right? And that's like, do you remember a couple months ago, it was a celebrity come in and he was like really challenging the way we see physics.
I know.
And he was like, 1 times 2 is 3 or something. He's saying something like that. You feel me?
1 times 1 is 2.
1 times 1 is 2, right? And you listen to him and he hitting you with so much physics at once. And if you ain't a physicist or a scientist, You could
sound good.
You could see how he derived these things, but it's like he's not obeying certain laws that we already have in place. You see, or that are already proven and accepted. You understand? I ain't trying to have no scientific debate. That ain't my strong suit. But that's the predicament that Job and his friends are in. Job is that celebrity. Is in this metaphor, Job would be looked at as that celebrity. You coming in, you telling us 1 times 1 is 2. I mean, like, bro, everybody know 1 times 1 is 1. And your daddy know that. The people who teach daddy. Everybody, even the first man who ever lived know that, bro. You know?
And it's interesting, right? I mean, let's get into the thing because I actually like have a point on like how they taken that too far, but let's get into it, right? So now Job 15, we have Eliphaz. Eliphaz makes his return. So Eliphaz, the Temanite answered and said, should he...
I think we in 18.
Yeah, I don't know. It was being 18.
Yeah,
so my bad.
So we did that last episode.
Last episode, yeah. Bildad, I was like, Eliphaz, we talked about Eliphaz already. So Bildad, the Shuhite answered again. So Bildad makes his return. How long till you put an end to words, gain understanding, and afterward we will speak? Why are we counted as beasts and regarded as stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, and shall the rock be removed from its place? The light of the wicked indeed goes out, and the flame of his does not shine. The light is dark in his tent, and his lamp beside him is put out. The steps of his strength are shortened, and his own counsel cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks into a snare. The net takes him by the heel, the snare lays a hold of him. A noose is hidden from him on the ground, a trap for him in the road. Terrors frighten him on every side and drive him to his feet. His strength is starved. His destruction is ready at his side. It devours patches of his skin. The firstborn of death devours his limbs. He is uprooted from the shelter of his tent, and they parade him before the king of terrors. They dwell in his tent who are none of his. Brimstone is scattered on his dwelling. His roots are dried out below, and his branch withers above. The memory of him perishes from the earth, and he has no name among the renowned. He is driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He has neither son nor posterity among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. Those in the west are astonished at his day, as those in the east are frightened. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him who does not know God. Man!
So yeah, Bildad, second appearance. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, so they at a place now where it's like, we just doubling down.
No, we fed up with you.
Yeah, we just doubling. Everybody just doubling down on everything they already say. In my opinion, you know what I mean. And so Job just tell them, but y'all don't make no sense. Y'all are bad comforters. You know what I'm saying?
Horrible.
You're horrible comforters, and y'all are not wise. You see what I'm saying? When y'all shut up, that's the wisest y'all been. You see what I'm saying? Essentially, what he's saying. And then also he's and then he was also like, bro, leave, go and come back, because y'all ain't speaking no wisdom, right? And the first rebuttal he would say is, how long till you put an end to words, gain understanding, and afterward we would speak. So they basically saying, but you is the one, Bildad, saying you are the one who do not know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. Now for the rest of this chapter, he talks about what happens to bad people,
exactly,
to the wicked people, you know?
And so, like, we see Bildad really contrasting Nakhaz's point, what wicked people go through. And if you listen good enough, you realize he is really describing Job. So he's saying, guess what? I could talk in general sense, but these what the wicked people is go through, which we all know as fact. But guess what, Job? All of your family died. You ain't got no more posterity amongst you. Terror is forming your tent. You are covered with boils. You are afflicted with all this suffering. You right now saying that you have no more light. Your own lips testify against you. So if we establish this is what the wicked people go through, and you by your own mouth already testified that this is what you are going through, how then can we now say that you are not wicked.
Yeah, but based on that logic, if that's the logic and that's generally accepted, that is sound.
And that is the conundrum.
And that's the conundrum.
And that is the conundrum, right? And so now me and Kaz have been going through this in the previous episodes, right? But you could kind of see how the logic that the friends are employing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rigid. There's no room for error, but there is a philosophical fallacy behind it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I really want to get to Zophar too, because it's really all two of them. But it's like how the argument that innocent people don't suffer is false.
Right, but you even remember what Zophar say last chapter? No, Eliphaz say, I can keep my accent mixed up. I just letting you all know.
Yeah.
For real. What Eliphaz say last chapter, he was like, he basically was saying all of us have sinned.
Mm-hmm.
And no one is righteous, basically. I think he's flat out say all of us have sinned, but he said no one is righteous. Like God don't even see angels as righteous type situation.
And the funny thing about it too, right? Again, if you go back like the one before that, Job already say, bro, like, I know I ain't perfect.
I had iniquities.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bringing up the iniquities of my youth.
You
Right, yeah.
know what I'm saying, bro? I ain't perfect. Like, are you a God who's punishing me for things that I had committed like 30 years ago?
Right.
Because I ain't do nothing now. And I thought I was already forgiven for those. But now if you bringing these up, bro, just kill me.
Yeah. If that's the case.
If you decide here, bro, just kill me.
If that's how you getting on, well, you might as well just,
All right, let's go to verse 19, chapter 19.
Yep.
Then Job answered and say, how long will you torment my soul and break me into pieces with words? These 10 times you have reproached me. You are not ashamed that you have wronged me. And if indeed I have erred, my error remains
with me. Yeah.
If indeed you exalt yourselves against me and plead my disgrace against me, know that then God has wronged me and has surrounded me with his net. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry out aloud, there is no justice. He has fenced up my way so that I cannot pass, and has set darkness in my paths. He has stripped me from my glory and taken my crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. My hope has uprooted like a tree. He has also kindled his wrath against me, and he counts me as one of his enemies. His troops come together and build up their road against me, and they encamp around my tent. He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have failed, and my close friends have forgotten me. Those who dwell in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I call my servant, but he gives no answer. I beg him with my mouth. My breath is offensive to my wife, and I am repulsive to the children of my own body. Even young children despise me. I arise and they speak against me, and my close friends abhor me. And those whom I love have turned against me. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, O you my friends. For the hand of God has struck me. Why do you persecute me as God does, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that words were written.
My words were written.
Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, that they were engraved on a rock with an iron pen and lead forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth. After my skin is destroyed, this I know, that in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes behold, and not another. How my heart yearns within me. If you should say, how shall we persecute him, since the root of the matter is found in me? Be afraid of the sword for yourselves, for wrath brings punishment of the sword, that you may know that there is judgment. Mercy.
I wonder if Job don't even know his words was written.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? Because like someone else probably write the story,
Mm-hmm.
or he write it after the fact, and he's like, bro, know that these words be written forever.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're seeing something different from Job today.
Mm.
I don't think Job was being offensive to his friends during this speech. Like the last couple of speeches Job went on, he insulted their intelligence or their wisdom, I'll say. You know what I mean? this time Job sound like he really just like he kind of like getting defeated. Like,
He tired of this.
I letting y'all know, bro. Y'all arguing with me back and forth all these times, right? Look at what's going on with me, bro. God has wronged me, bro. Like, God has wronged me. This going on with me. My skin is this. He say my breath is offensive to my wife, right? It's two ways I interpret that.
Yes.
One is my mouth stink, right? That's the first thing, right? Because we say, do I offend? Like, that's right. But also, he might be saying that the mere act of me breathing is offensive to my wife. Like, she don't want me to be around. You see what I'm saying? Like, she don't want to see me breathing because I lost the text. I wish I just remember these things, but right afterward, he say something else to say that other people don't want him around. You know what I'm saying? And so that made me think that he wasn't meaning his like the stench of his breath. But
It's verse 17.
Verse 17. So he say, and I am repulsive to my children, to the children of my own body, you know? And that they might say you repulsive because you smell bad or whatever too. You know, that could also be, you know,
Covered in boils.
Yeah, right. Because you look bad and you know what I'm saying, you ain't in the best shape. But I think this is like one of them ones where he's like, bro, he putting it all out to his friends, like, bro, like, okay, I don't know if you understand how deeply this run, bro. I have a big network of people. I have friends, associates, everybody, bro. Nobody wants me right now. No, like, let's think about what I could have done that not only God is slaying me, but everyone else is slaying me.
Including y'all.
And it's like, bro, like he say something to say, if I had erred, that's with me.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Verse 4. He's like, bro, if that was something I do, this on me type situation, right? But like it's stemming so far beyond me too. Like my servants don't talk to me type, you know what I mean? Like, no. Like, and when you really think about it, even his servants died.
A lot of them died, except them 4.
Right, except for them 4, right? And so it's like, sometimes I really question that. Like, obviously our actions impact other people in the spiritual and in the physical, right? But also, bro, how crazy is it that this is something reflective of Job, right? But you get hurt or you end up losing your life by association. Not even that, it's his children.
Mercy.
But this is him employees also, you know? But I think if you really consider it from a servant perspective, right? If I know this thing happening to my boss, right? All these children get it. All of my coworkers get it. You think I come around you?
Not leaving.
I can be real. I don't want nothing to do with you.
Keep my last pay out.
We're talking. It ain't even nothing personal. No, I don't want to get what you getting. So I ain't want to be around you. You see what I'm saying? So from the servant's perspective, I feel them. Now, is it right? Probably not. Probably not, because another thing I learned in Job is that you don't kick somebody when they down. You know what I mean? Even if it's their fault that they down, you're still supposed to show them love. What Jesus say? I was in prison and you didn't visit me, right? And I think with that one, you know, because it's like, obviously you have loved ones who could go to prison, right? However, a lot of people who in prison, they in prison because of stuff they do. So if you in prison, you committed a crime, right? A lot of times when we think about criminals like that, especially like really heinous crimes like predators and, you know, murderers and stuff like that, we look at them as like, no, but you need jail, but you don't need freedom, right? But do they need love though? You see what I'm saying? It's a consequence for your actions, right? As members of society, we actually agree, just by being in society, we agree to these terms and conditions. And if we fail to do it, we're gonna be held accountable, right? And it's like when people commit crimes, it's like a feeling that you get where you just feel like, I don't want to really be associated with you no more. Yeah, like I don't want to be around you. But Jesus saying, I was in prison and you didn't visit me. He didn't say I was falsely in prison and you didn't visit me. To me, that would make sense. Like, you know, your boy going down for something that he didn't do, or you get arrested for his beliefs, and you ain't even was there for him. But no, let's say this person actually do it.
I was in prison, period.
I was in prison, period, and you ain't visit me. And so, like, to me, I just think, like, from a godly perspective, love, you know, God shines his light on the just from the unjust. A lot of people, it's human nature, I believe, to want to be separated from certain things. Like, if somebody is harmful and have done bad things,
absolutely,
you don't want to be around them, and nobody's gonna champion you. Bro, you should stay around them. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like they look at you like you foolish because you putting yourself in harm's way, like you playing with fire as well. And for that reason, that might explain why all of Job's, everyone except for these 3 friends, have separated himself from him. You know?
No, I agree. I mean, it's definitely a thought experiment, right? Like, why everyone turning themselves away from him? But to your point, you really experienced a lot of trauma. I know you're going through the sickness, so like you was the black cat in the shed. No one really wants to be associated with that. And then I might be scared I catch what you got.
That's true.
You got
Yeah, I know if that's contagious.
I know if this contagious.
And then during them times, bro, they used to take skin diseases very seriously.
Very seriously,
Yeah.
buddy. Boy, I ain't trying to come around here.
Little rash you got a rash you got to separate.
Separate yourself from society.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, like even in this chapter, Job saying, bro, I cry out to God and I don't even hear nothing. Like, can you imagine, like, we know how tight Job was with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now just thinking about it, like, I used to communicating with God. I used to crying out and at least I hear something back. Now I go into this affliction. I don't understand why I just want to hear from you. And I can't even go through that. I don't even have that small relief that at least you still here with me through this, right? And it reminds me of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Father, why
have you forsaken me?
Why have you forsaken me?
Yeah, no, that was on the cross.
Yeah, Father, why have you forsaken me?
This cup,
if it's possible, let this cup pass from me, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when you're so close to being in communication with God, now you're going through really and truly the hardest part of your life, bro. You're going through immense suffering, bro, immense pain. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, you're going through immense pain and suffering. And when you really want to hear from God, your Father, nothing. Like, and then in Job's case, I mean, Jesus and Job's case, right? You going through all this when there's people mocking you. People really trying to tell you, bro, like, bro, literally in both cases, right? Like, bro, you guilty, bro. You guilty. And it's interesting. Both were innocently suffering. And people were telling them, bro, just confess your sins.
Confess, bro.
Just confess your sins, man. But man. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I think we could get through so far.
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. And Zophar, remember, Zophar came out the gate swinging last time. So I'm very interested to see what Zophar going to say this time.
Yeah.
In chapter 20. Then Zophar, the Naamathite, answered and said, therefore, my anxious thoughts make me answer. So again, think about it. Like, we going through this like chapter by chapter, right? But this is literally like an open conversation right now. Like, so now we're seeing Zophar again was sitting down, listening, pondering these thoughts. You say, okay, my anxious thoughts are making me answer this now. Because I've been saying what you're saying, Job, I hear. Just hear what Bildad and Eliphaz said again. Now it's time for me to jump back in. Because of the turmoil that's in me. I have heard the rebuke that reproaches me, and the spirit of my understanding causes me to answer. Do you not know of this old? Do you not know of this of old, since man was placed on earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is sought, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Though his haughtiness mounts up to the heavens, and his head reaches to the clouds, yet he will perish forever, like his own refuse. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? He will fly away like a dream and not be found. Yes, he will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more, nor will his place behold him anymore. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will restore his wealth. His bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he spares it and does not forsake it, but he still keeps it in his mouth. Yet his food in his stomach turns sour. It becomes cobra venom within him. He swallows down riches and vomits them up again. God casts them out of his belly. He will suck the poison of the cobras. The viper's tongue will slay him. He will not see the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. I guess milk and honey. He will restore that for which he labored, and he will not swallow it down from the proceeds of business. He will get no enjoyment, for he has oppressed and forsaken the poor. He has violently seized a house which he did not build. Because he knows no quietness in his heart, he will not save anything he desires. Nothing is left for him to eat. Therefore, his well-being will not will not last, and his self-sufficiency, he will be in distress. Every hand of misery will come against him. When he is about to fill his stomach, God will cast on him with the fury of his wrath and will rain it on him while he is eating. He will flee from the iron weapon. A bronze bow will pierce him through. It is drawn, and he comes out of the body. Yes, the glittering point comes out of his gall. Terrors come upon him. Total darkness is reserved for his treasures. An unfanned fire will consume him. It shall go ill with him who is left in his tent. The heavens will reveal up his iniquity, and earth will rise up against him. The increase of his house will depart, and his goods will flow away in the day of his wrath. And this is his portion from God for a wicked man, the heritage appointed to him by God. And so we see Zophar essentially, again, almost echoing what Bildad just said, right? Essentially laying out the case of a wicked man and saying, Job, this is your portion.
Mm-hmm.
Job, why are you still hiding that you have not sinned? Why are you still like, bro, just repent. Just say you sin so you can get God's blessings. You don't want all this wickedness stuff, right? So why are you just holding on to this notion that you have not sinned, bro? Why?
That's it, right? And yeah, so no, to your point though, they keep doubling down on who this hypothetical wicked man is. He has oppressed and forsaken the poor. He has violently seized a house which he did not build. They're getting very specific.
Mercy.
Up on this wicked man who they we speaking hypothetically, but why are you telling me what this man do? You see what I'm saying? And it's like you could see they basically projecting some of the most wicked things that a person could do
onto Job.
Yeah, right. So it's like these are the most wicked things that someone could do, and this is what warrants that type of punishment. You see, the Corpus Vellum, like he eat the food and he thought it was good, but then it turned sour in his stomach. You see what I'm saying? It's like the things. It become poisonous to them. It's like when they saying no ill-gotten gains won't last. You see what I'm saying? It's like the punishment, the consequences of your actions are now manifesting itself, or the consequences of an evil person's actions will manifest itself in a very vile way. You know, but yeah, I know. But it's so funny because they really saying specifics. Like this is the type of things he do.
Yeah, like. Think about it now, and again, if we put ourselves in Job's friend's shoes, bro, like, but we tired of running on with this right now, because we all have the logic that you clearly have sinned and you clearly wicked, and now we kind of doubling down on this spot because nothing you saying really changing our point of view, right? And verse 21 gonna be interesting, right? Because Job essentially trying to combat them, right? So let's just go through this real quick. And Job answered and said, "Listen carefully to my speech, and let this be a consolation. Bear with me that I may speak. And after I have spoken, keep mocking." Like he almost saying, bro, I know this ain't really going to change your point of view, but hear me out.
Right.
Like.
But y'all are mocking me. Y'all are mocking me.
Don't get it twisted now.
I about to say something. Pause for a second, and then you can mock me afterward.
Yeah, like hear me out.
Yeah.
As for me, it's my complaint against man. And if it were, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be astonished. Put your hand over your mouth. Even when I remember, I am terrified. And trembling takes hold of my flesh. Why do the wicked live and become old? Yes, become mighty in power. Their descendants are established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear. Neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bulls breed without failure, their calves without miscarriage. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and the harp, and rejoice to the sound of the flute. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Yet they say to God, depart from us. For we do not desire knowledge of your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we have if we pray to him? Indeed, their prosperity is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? How often does their destruction come upon them? The sorrows of God distributes his anger. The sorrow of God distributes in his anger. They are like the straw before the wind. They are and like the chaff that the storm carries away. They say, God lays up one's iniquity for his children. Let him recompense them, that he may know it. Let his eyes see destruction, and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what does he care about his household after him? When the number of his mouths is cut in half, can anyone teach God knowledge, since he judges those on high? One dies in full strength, being wholly at ease and secure. His pails are full of milk, and the marrow of his bones is moist. Another man dies in the bitterness of his soul, never having eaten with pleasure. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worms cover them. Look, I know your thoughts, and the schemes which you would wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince, and where is the tent, the dwelling place of the wicked? Have you not asked those who travel the road, and do you not know their signs? For the wicked are reserved for the day of the doom. They shall be brought out on the day of the wrath, which condemns his way to his face, and who repays him for what he has done. Yet he shall be brought into the grave, and a vigil kept over the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet to him. Everyone shall follow him, and as countless have gone before him. How then can you comfort me with empty words, since falsehood remains in your answers? Boom. Right? So, even though I know it's a little wordy right now, right, but what essentially Job was saying, at least from my perspective, right? Job saying, and you see how we ended it. There's falsehood in the answers, right? Because you guys saying that wickedness means suffering.
Yeah.
And suffering equates to wickedness. But let me lay out this case that not all wicked people suffer, because I'm going to give you an example of wicked people who we know don't serve God, but they are prosperous.
Yeah.
They're bulls. Their bulls bring forth like more calves. They everything about them prosperous.
They see old age. You see
exactly.
Like
they healthy, they wealthy, but we know they wicked, but they ain't suffering. So now how does this one part that y'all missing? Because y'all so rigid in saying wickedness equals suffering, but we know wicked people who are not suffering. So therefore, are we saying that they are not really wicked? Or are we saying that, bro, there's more to this part, there's more to the story that we don't understand?
And I think that's pretty compelling, because they at a point where everybody doubling down on their thesis, like I mentioned, right? But they ain't getting nowhere. I feel like everyone talking in circles. Job, he have a few points, he keep bouncing. I want to die. Ain't nobody like me. God dissing me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good things is happening about people, right? But his friends, they consistent, bro. It's either repent or, bro, this happened to you because of your action, type situation, right? They consistent in that. Job trying his best to give them perspective, bro.
Another perspective.
It can't be that bad only is happening to bad people. Because I showing you, we can talk about plenty good what has happened to bad people, right? But remember last time Job went on this type of narrative, he was saying, hey, God just rise up kings and he tear them down. You see what I'm saying? He build up a house, then he tear it down. Like situations like God is do as he please, bro. Like we can't really comprehend how God handles these things, and we can't say, hey, this law equals this or this equals that. You know what I'm saying? Like we just have to be able to accept the way things are, instead of projecting. And I think Job, he just really wanted to get that out. He's like, bro, let me just like say this, and then y'all can get back to what y'all say.
And that's the thing, right? Because now, if we look at it, right, like a lot of Christians today have that same belief, bro. Like, bro, good equals blessings, and bad equals curses.
Yeah.
We all have this binary view of the world, right? But and here's what I was kind of insinuating earlier, right? Bro, like the Bible never says, bro, that, bro, everyone who suffers is wicked, and everyone who is healthy and wealthy
are righteous.
And that's the thing right there. It's like when we see implications of such, but we make it an absolute fact. And when you make it the absolute fact is when you get disappointed, when bad things start happening to you, even though you feel that you don't deserve it. And good things start happening to your enemies, who you for sure feel don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now you're saying, God, why me? And God, why them?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the interesting part when you start really breaking apart Job, right? Because we see his friends took the biblical principle almost one step further, almost like how the Pharisees were doing. Because now you take something that even and make it more concrete where there's no nuances now. You make it so black and white that now when the nuance actually does happen, because the nuance does exist, your knowledge and your laws no longer allow for that nuance to happen. And it's interesting, right? Because again, I know I already made the Jesus example, right? But think about it, right? When Jesus came, it was like, bro, what you mean you picking corn on the Sabbath? What you mean you picking corn on the Sabbath? We didn't say, bro, no work happening on the Sabbath. Nah, you picking corn off on the field that you walking through and you eating it. That's work.
Freaking out.
What you mean? What you mean you're the son of God?
Blasphemy.
That's blasphemy, bro. What you mean?
Yeah.
Like, and we see that's what Job's friends going through right now, and that's what Job and that's what Job and his friends going through. They had these theologies that were so rigid that now that the nuance coming in, Job really and truly self-reflecting and saying, "Oh, well, good does happen to bad people,
Right?
So maybe." And then the verse trying to show his friends that, yo, bad could happen to good people.
Right.
But his friends ain't really accepting that.
No, they ain't buying it. And I think it's a hard pill to swallow, because I sit and thinking, and I trying to put myself in these shoes, bro, because we have the benefit of having these stories to know how people could land on either side. Like, I watched this season of The Chosen. Well, I still watching it. And we see the Pharisees, like Jesus hitting them with, or they're starting the third, and they freaking out like, no, bro, you bugging, bro. Like, this boy freaking out. Like, and I feel them, bro, because it's like, if this what you know to be fuck, somebody coming and they hitting you with something that's completely opposite of what you believe.
Different.
Yeah, and this is how it's always been known, bro. Like the Pharisees believed that the Messiah was coming to restore their kingdom. That was a need that they thought would have been fulfilled. It's kind of interesting to think about because it's like Jesus promised to come before they had a kingdom or before their kingdom was taken away. Like when you think about Adam and Eve, when he say, I'll put enmity between the seed of the woman and the serpent, you know what I'm saying? And, we have, Balaam testify that, out of Bethlehem, XYZ, right? And, but somewhere along the lines, like the Jews, they had been persecuted so much and they had been not really enslaved, but subservient to these nations that it's like they needed the Messiah for their liberation, for their physical liberation. And so when Jesus comes and he's saying, but no, I ain't doing none of that. You know what I mean? And I Paul, you see what I'm saying? And I really only healing people and preaching for real. Like I ain't getting in no political disputes. My disputes really only with the Pharisees. You see what I'm saying? For real, like the Romans, they can do whatever they want to do type situation. That's where it's like, no, bro, this is actually a problem now, bro. And I sympathize with that because I'm like, I get why but if someone tell you, bro, this person coming into power and they getting rid of all taxes. You ain't got to pay not a tax. So you could afford this and that and the third, and you have that in your mind, right? Then when that person come, they're like, no, but I never say I wasn't taking away taxes. You see what I'm saying? I say I was taking, anyway, I just didn't say that. You looking at them like, no, but you let me down, bro. Like this can't be the boy because everyone say this the thing what he was coming to do type situation. And so when but it's a problem because their foundation was flawed and they never take the time to realize that was the case. It was always, hey, this Jesus person have to be wrong because he goes against what we believe. You see what I'm saying? And you don't never try to challenge what you believe. And that's kind of crazy to me because, boy, if it's like you in a denomination or a religion and you know it like the back of your hand, but someone coming and telling you that religion is wrong or that way of thinking is wrong.
Mercy.
How do you even go about that? You see that? Like, how do you accept that? I already bought in. I was raised in this and I know it like I study. I put sweat, equity, time, everything into this. And now you telling me, no, that's wrong? how do I accept that? You know?
And that has been an interesting thing, right? Because, bro, all religions, and even take Christianity, bro, all denominations, as much as they don't want to admit it, and watch I might get in trouble for saying this, right? But we all start to put God in a type of box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how we are going to understand, and the lens that we are going to understand religion and God through, right? And that's the thing. So now when someone comes and passes this box, which we might see in the next episode, right? If someone comes start passing this box, your instant reaction is defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because surely the box that I have God in is the box that God fits in. And that's like the wrong way to look at it. And again, nothing's perfect, right? But and that's when you start to limit God based on your own understanding and your own reasoning. And that's what Job Friend's doing right now.
Yeah.
They are limiting God and based on their own knowledge, based on their own tradition. Because again, they kept on laying out the case that, bro, this is how it's been done before us. So now, surely, why is your case different? And Job essentially saying, again, we see what he said in the last time he talked when his response to Bildad. I need a redeemer. I need someone who is going to come and plead my case in front of God because I need to clear my name. And it's interesting too, man, because again, bro, we all suffer sometimes, but then no one suffers all of the times, right?
Yeah.
Right? But we looking at these couple of chapters we go through, right? Man, it's easy to see how this logic can hold us in a net, using the chapter example, right? Because now you start to think, like, okay, bro, if something bad happening to me, that clearly means I do something bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking about, like, bro, I know I'm sinful, but I've been doing pretty good. I don't remember doing, like, I ain't do nothing really, right? And so, but then it also leads to the circular reason, like, bro, these people over here getting blessed. Clearly, I ain't doing enough for God. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to absorb that, like, non-biblical thinking that suffering equals sin and sin equals suffering, and then that righteousness equals wealth and health, because that is not what God states. If you look at the case of Joseph, why was Joseph sold into slavery? Why was he thrown in prison? And all throughout those steps, we see that Joseph was doing everything right. Joseph, one could argue, was a man blameless in his generation at the time, right?
Yeah. But even if you look at Pharaoh, not even Joseph's Pharaoh, Moses' Pharaoh, you the king, you have everything at your disposal, and you enslaving people and you dealing wickedly. All of the damage you do, there's no way you could suffer for the amount of suffering you put on people. Like, so like, even when you think about people in the world, I could just throw out Hitler, like, it's some people who have a really, like, disdain for him, like a serious hate for him, right? But it's like, bro, Hitler, he lived only a short amount of time and he ended up dying early. All of the pain you put people through, you could never get repaid for that, bro. Like, in life, in this life. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like the concept that, hey, your fortune or misfortune is as a result of your righteousness or your sinfulness. It can't be an apples to apples thing. It have to have nuance in there. But I will say there are promises in the Bible where God say, if you would be blessed if you keep my commandments. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are the blessings that I bestow upon you, and these are the curses that will come if you do that. You know, even in the Ten Commandments, it said the Ten Commandments says he visits the iniquity of the children of the third and fourth generation that hate me. You see what I'm saying? I remember reading, but I remember the first time I discovered the Ten Commandments was actually like a text. Like, cause you see the Ten Commandments all the time, and it's shortened. But then you read the whole text, and you're like, oh no, he expound on these commandments type situation, right? And I was like, wow, you visit the iniquity of the people of the third and fourth generation. So like, you telling me 4 generations ago, my forefathers, they was just bugging. You see what I'm saying? And I get to reap that, and then I can't rationalize what is justice and what ain't from God's perspective. But if you really think about it, if I live to be 70 years old and I just harming people all throughout my time, bro. Like I harm a person a day for 70 years type vibe. You know what I mean? There's no way I could get that back. You see what I'm saying? Like
the words are so far. You supposed to be suffering even more.
You're supposed to be suffering even more. It always could be even more. And so like to me, it's like it would make sense that it fall upon your children and your children's children. Like you see what I'm saying? Like I ain't saying I could explain it to the fullest, but you know, some things it outlasts us, you know. But at the end of the day, I think that's enough for this episode. We can hit y'all on the next episode. In this episode, just to wrap up a little bit. Job and his friends, the tension coming to a head, right? We soon can see Job like try to really see Job ain't really doing a lot of proving that he's innocent. He's saying that I'm innocent. You know what I'm saying? God is doing this, but he ain't turning around and saying, hey, I never do this, I never do that. We getting there soon. The tensions are rising and they come into a head. Everybody, they feel very passionate about their beliefs and they feel like the other person, meaning Job versus his friends, they are just being obtuse. You know what I'm saying? They just really not understanding things.
Not budging.
And Job trying his best to add perspective that you all may not have thought about because he probably have not thought about this until he was in the situation. And I think he making a lot of sense because good things do happen to bad people and vice versa. You see a lot of wicked people, they thriving for a long time. But we have a record executive in the hip hop R&B community.
Mercy.
But this boy on trial right now. They have a crazy rap sheet of over 100 victims. You see what I'm saying?
Mercy.
And if you would say this last year, you would be looking like, no way he could have been doing all of this. And he just, for so long, he just roaming free. And now we have people like, you know, the filmmakers and then the fashion designers, bro, like billionaires. I'll treat these people like talking about billionaires. Had a long run of victimizing people. You see what I'm saying? And there's billionaires. But if it was just judged based on morality, if there's billionaires, you and I should be trillionaires. You see what I'm saying? Because the way they was giving it up. You know what I mean? For real.
Boy, oh boy.
And so it makes sense, bro. We live in a world where we see a lot of wicked people who get away with it, bro. You have people who would steal from you. They steal from you, and them stealing from you, it put you back, bro. It set you back, dog. You wondering how you could feed your children, how you could pay rent, because someone thief from you, bro. And this thief living it up. Mercy. Just squandering. He children living good. They could go to private school, all type of thing. You see what I'm saying? That, bro, it's like we can't understand, bro. It's so the world we live in is so complex. It's so complex, bro. It's a lot of sin. It's a lot of demons. It's principalities, powers. You see what I'm saying? Rulers of the wickedness in high places. I butchered out that text, but y'all know what I'm saying. And if you don't know, just say we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Google that text or whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, spiritual things are spiritually discerned. You see what I'm saying? We can't put the onus on ourselves to fully understand everything that is going on in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? That's why we need to rely on God and pray. You know what I'm saying? For His forgiveness, for His protection, and for His prosperity. First, we hear from Bildad, who explains to Job that the ways of the wicked lead to destruction. But Job explains that he is being punished by God, and that his family and loved ones have all separated themselves from him, and now so has his friends. Then Zophar chimes in and reaffirms his belief that Job has acted wickedly, and thus his punishment is because of his own actions. It seems like the conversation between Job and his friends are not getting anywhere. But join us next week as we continue to hear again from Bildad and Eliphaz as Job pleads for his innocence. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Earl Roberts. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.